Right, how y'all doing? I really wanted to do another video related to a video shot a day prior. I did a Docker video. I did a video about GUI sucking, which related a bit to the Docker video. And today I wanted to do GUIs still suck really bad, part the two, because reasons. Look, just want to throw out there, if you don't want to try and push people to a smartphone app, try to configure some things on a router, right? There were 3 layers of getting in my way, like 3 layers of abstraction to get to the point that I wanted to get to change a setting that wasn't available in the app. The first thing it pushes in your face is app. Second thing, log in this way. Not a thing, log in the next way. Great. Do that, then you can change. Don't do it. It's dumb. Anyway, then I realised that it's actually the 31st, right, of the month that it is, 2021. I say the month that it is, I'm not actually entirely sure what month we're in right now. March? March. We'll say it's March. Me and you will say it's March. We agree. Right. That means that this is the end of my internety, smartphoney detox thing. And it wasn't a full internet detox because while I allowed myself to use the internet on my computer, and obviously I've been posting videos and doing live streams and stuff, but majority of my onlineiness has been here, which in the grand scheme of things, it mostly is, with the exception of I'm fiddling around with my phone when I'm supposed to be doing something else. I know, let's check Amazon, or hey, what's on eBay? Hey, what's on social medias? Hey, let's go on Pornhub. Something like that, right? Without that device, you'd assume time has been freed and I'm not getting as wound up by social media. Well, initially the journey started with a Nokia 105 dual SIM phone, feature phone, and a SanDisk Clip Sport. I think it's the Generation 1 MP3 player. And for photos, a tad overkill in comparison to the other devices, I was using a Fujifilm X-T1, which is sat over there because the batteries are on charge. But just to prove that that's a thing, here's my lens cap for the 27mm? 20, I don't know, it's the pancake. I really like it. But I had a bigger lens around this over there with the camera, but I've been using the Fuji, okay? Then the Nokia 105 within no more than a week, the 105 was getting on my tits. T9 texting sucks balls, and the fact that I just could not get a signal in my house. It was running on 2G, so straight away one of my SIM cards wouldn't work, so I had to go and get another SIM for it. And even then, I just couldn't get signal. If I was sat here at my desk, we've nicknamed this the Faraday corner. You do not get signal in this corner. Modern phones, not so much of a problem because you can do like Wi-Fi calling and stuff like that. But the Nokia 105, if you put it on my desk, you didn't get signal. If I put it over there in the corner, I'd maybe get a bar, maybe two. I was finding that I was missing calls, and I just hate T9 texting. As a phone, it wasn't like, I mean, if you needed a phone, it did the job. If you needed to send a text, you could send a text. But for everything else, not great. I mean, I had a radio built into it, which was kind of nice, I suppose. But, you know, whatever. My MP3 player had the SanDisk Clip Sport had a radio built into it as well. And seeing as I downgraded all of my stuffs, I actually downgraded my listening experience too. I mean, obviously I downgraded to the MP3 player. But I went and got these little JVC earbuds to go with, right? As opposed to, because I could have made this quite easy on myself, right? I went as super cheap as possible. Because I could, like, for MP3 player media consumption, audio consumption, I could have used my Shanling M0 or my Hibi R3, neither of which I have at my desk. And those are higher end audio players, like higher quality, take bigger memory cards, nicer interfaces. And I could have used, if I really wanted to, my Sennheiser. What are these? The 598 CSs. Really comfortable headphones if you want to go the wired. Really, really nice, comfortable headphones. Some people have a bit of trouble with clamp and force around the jaw. Some people have trouble with higher end frequencies causing listening fatigue. They're alright for that kind of stuff if you're that worried. They're alright, for me at least. But then each person's ears and jaw, they're all going to be different. You're all going to have different issues with pressure sensitivity and all that. But I like these. I've had these for ages. These are the Dread Pirate Bezos Sennheisers because Dread Pirate Bezos Amazon stuffed up, and I got sent these instead of the things I actually ordered, and they said I could keep them. So I was like, rightio. And then the other option I could have gone with, if I want to go Bluetooth at least, some Bose Quiet Comfort 35s. Nice headphones, active noise cancelling, this neat. The first pair of ANC headphones I've ever had, but we didn't use those. We used the JVC earbuds because why not? If I've downgraded my entire experience, why connect up like a £200 pair of headphones, either or, into like a £15 or something MP3 player? It just seemed really silly. The biggest issue with that MP3 player though was that it would list files. It was nice for format wise. It did OGG, so it did Vorbis, not Opus, but it did Vorbis. MP3, Wave. I think WMA might have been on there. One of the Apple formats was on there. It did just to call it an MP3 player was it's a bit of a knock to it, to be honest with you. But the beef that I had with it was that I think it does FLAC as well. But as I said, the beef that I had with it was that it would read files in the order that you wrote them to the memory card. So, as an example, let's say your song's got, or your album's got 10 tracks in it, your song's got 10 tracks in it, your album has got 10 tracks in it, 1 through 10, right? Well, who's to say that they get written to the card in that order? Let's say it goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then maybe another number gets missed, and they kind of get flipped around. So when you're trying to listen to an album or look for songs on an album, even entire albums can be in different orders. Artists can be in different orders. They might not be in A to Z. It might go, A, B, Z, F, and then you're like, oh God, finding things is kind of awkward. You can fix that by rewriting the memory card in things in alphanumerical order. You can run, I can't remember what the software is, but it's like a fat fixer or whatever, or you can do some other little bits of jiggery pokery to rewrite there's a table on the thing that just basically tells it where files are, and then everything will list as it should. However, that comes with its own issues because that can and did cause data corruptions. Every now and then when I'd write new songs, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to have to reorganize all these files. I'm going to have to run this thing again. And it'd be like, well, I can't. I was like, okay, fair enough. So I'm going to have to format the card, rewrite all the data, skip around, do the thing to make everything in the right order, and then hope that I didn't get any data corruption, because if I did, I'd have to complete the process again to get the files on there. All in, though, with the exception of that, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't a super high-end listening experience, but it was good enough if I'm out walking the dog or just wanted to listen to an audiobook or something like that, because I'd also done that this last month. I'd been stripping audiobooks of DRM so that I could put them on this player because it wasn't compatible. It's nice. I could just chill out and listen to my tunes. It's kind of forced me to get my stuff in order. So that was the groove, but as I said, the Nokia 105 had to go, and it was replaced with an ancient BlackBerry. Someone's going to say, well, isn't that technically a smartphone? Sure, but I did pull off most of the apps. I think it had a social app on here that just went away. There was Facebook and and I think Twitter were on there, and I was like, I've got no interest in those because those are the things that I want to get away from. So I just uninstalled those. You can get these from between £5 and £15 or something like that. It's one of the older BlackBerry OS generations. I think it's like 7. But for sending texts, it was great. I could connect to the interwebs on it if I really wanted to, using the ancient BlackBerry browser. I could even listen to music on it if I really wanted to. I did try at one point to get some SSH stuff done on here so I could connect to some of my servers, but the code was so out of date that it didn't support any of the kind of modern encryption protocols, so that was a no-go. But as a phone, it was nice. It was cool. It was comfortable. I even took some photographs with it because it's got a camera on the back. It was all right. Now it's not to say that I completely got away from my smartphone. I didn't. There are a few people that didn't not call my smartphone. They knew that I was going for something like this. Even one of my mates today called my smartphone. It got ignored. He called this. Other people just called the smartphone. Sometimes, I'll confess, I was quite rude and just ignored it. Once or twice I did answer it. The smartphone was used mostly as a tool, because I even went to using a wristwatch at one point and just found that the alarm was so jank I wasn't waking up from it. And I like to have multiple alarms, so my smartphone basically became a bedside alarm clock. And what was the other thing I used it for? I used it for something else, but basically it would sit either upstairs bedside table or here on my desk. You don't interact with any notifications. I was using it to control some other devices in my house that stupidly use an app. And I was like, no, don't use an app. I don't want to use an app. Just let me use it. But apparently that's a thing now. Hey, you want to set up your device? Use an app. So other than kind of using it for those little once in a blue moon things, it was gone. Not that big of a deal, if I had to be completely honest with you. It was nice to be away from it. Even like now, I got to the point at one point where I just left my phone at home, whether it be Smart or BlackBerry or whatever. I was just leaving it at home and just going without. Even my camera, I've got this thing this year where I'm taking a photograph every single day. I take photographs every day anyway, but I've got into a habit since getting a Google Pixel 3a a few years ago of just whipping my phone out and snapping pictures. Before then, I would use a camera, an actual camera. I still use an actual camera, but I got more into a habit of using a smartphone. I kind of bit the bullet and just started, smartphone snapping. There are huge gaps in those online photo library, like cloud backup things. For me, there are huge gaps, like 6-year gaps, where I didn't sync a single thing to the cloud, and now I've uploaded a metric ass ton of stuff, and I got a Google Pixel 4a. They have nice cameras on them. I will say that's the one thing I've noticed that I kind of would have liked to have had more of, but not that big of a deal. I just started taking around my Fuji, and then in the end I was just like, I'm not gonna bother. I am still doing the photo every day though. Just I didn't carry around a camera as much. I always used to carry around a full-blown camera all the time anyway. For the last decade I've been doing that, but not for this. So yeah, it's been nice. How has the distancing from social media been though? I'm going to be honest, not great. Do I feel more productive and was I wasting less time? Sure. However, I found that regardless of how I absorb things on social media, when and how often I absorb things on social media, it was still really getting on my nerves. So rather than getting a message, every couple of hours throughout the day or however long it would take for notifications to come through, my phone quite often gets notifications. and check. Oh, hey, there's a such and such on Twitter. Oh, hey, there's such and such a thing on Instagram. Hey, there's such and such a thing on Facebooks or whatever. And then eventually just letting that drag me into a pit of despair. Even if I saved those little kind of snippets of other people until the very end of my day, I would just absorb, like I just flick scroll, whoop, watch it fly past, and still get angered by it or still get frustrated by it, because it doesn't matter how often you interact with the stupid, you're still interacting with the stupid. So it was just like, I didn't want to deal with it. Just didn't want to deal with it. So now that I have the option of smartphone again, it's just not. It's not. I don't like it. I absolutely hate social media. I hate Facebook. I hate Twitter. The only reason I have a Facebook account is because I have an Oculus VR headset, and if I disable my Facebook account, which I was so tempted to do over this last month, you can't use the headset. You actually can't use the headsets, but maybe when there's a jailbreak come out for it, that'll be nice. But then the Oculus Store is also tied into Facebook, so would I lose any of my VR purchases made on the headset? PC VR is one thing, but sometimes I like to have a bit of mobile VR going on too. But yeah, social media, not so much of a problem, but just found that all in, it was pissing me off anyway. Same with WhatsApp, same with Signal, same with all these other things. It didn't matter what form of social media it was still a complete and utter ball ache. But stuff has been done. And that kind of leads into my next challenge, which I say challenge, it's a smartphone-y thing. And it's a smartphone that I've mentioned a wee bit of late, and I'm going to spend next month, so from April 1st until end of April, no jokes, so I'll make a video about it again tomorrow, I'm going to use the Pine phone. The Pine phone is it's a Linux smartphone. So it's not as full featured as, say, Android or iOS. It's still very buggy. It's still kind of very, very early days. Still very kind of homebrewy. You have to realistically think of using this like a Linux computer, because that is really what it is. This is like full fat Linux kind of squished onto a phone. So, app support's never going to be, you're not going to get like, an official Spotify client or an official Twitter client or an official YouTube app or whatever. Like these are just, they're gonna be like homebrew hacks and workarounds that someone else has made to be able to do a job. So, we'll work on that. But yeah, I'll play with this. I know that app support's going to be a bit thin, but I'll give it a go, because I've just gone from nothing. I will now go to, or technically nothing as far as smart features are concerned. I will then go to something, but it will be more limited. I feel realistically I'll still be able to do everything on this, with a few minor exceptions, because on my smartphone there's some proprietary stuff on there, as I said, that you need to run to do other stuff. But with that aside, I think I could get away with using this as the big boy main deal. I've just gone and put a clock on my desktop. There you go. Isn't that nice? Just close that. And with that, I'll also, to make this harder, Linux isn't particularly great with Bluetooth. I will go Bluetooth on it, even though it's got a 3.5mm headset. I ain't going to bother with the cameras on it because the cameras are shit. They don't work. The back camera on this doesn't work. It actually actively makes a popping sound when you try to activate the back camera. Some other people have told me it works. On mine it doesn't. Front-facing camera works, but it's jank. This is what I'm going to do. So, all in, internet detox has been a bit hit and miss. Smartphone detox has been a bit hit and miss. As I said, there were a few things that I missed, but nothing super hardcore. And the positives of it were very quickly negated when you actually sat down at your computer to do the things that made that positive anyway. So like, I'm not on social media very much. Then you go to social media and find out that you're pissed off anyway. So were there ever times that I really desperately wanted my phone? No. Did I really miss anything? Like, really miss anything? Did my life skip a beat without it? No. You know, just a few things here and there. Just use it as a tool rather than a crutch, and you can comfortably get through your day. So yeah, starting tomorrow, I could carry around the I'm using as I say I'm using the Pixel 4a. I could carry that around again, but I'm going to try and make the Linux Pine phone a daily driver for a month and see how that goes. So I have limited connection to social media and other stuff. Like, it's not going to be bombarding me with notifications because there are no native apps for that kind of stuff. But I will still be able to check through like its browser or whatever because it's a full featured web browser. The Blackberries is like a million years old, so I never bothered to use it. But the Pine phone is going to open up more doors. The other bonus to the Pine phone is, if I can actually remember where I put the damn dongle, you can attach to the USB-C power port. You can connect it up to your telly and use it as an actual Linux computer. So a lot of apps that are on here aren't actually scaled for a phone. They're scaled for desktop use, as if you were using like a Raspberry Pi or a Linux PC or a Linux PC. You know, you try and open them up on here, and like 2/3 of the UI is like out here somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. I think I could probably actually go even more hardcore with that detox. I would quite comfortably been off Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that. I'd been off in a heartbeat. To be honest with you, it's toxic. It doesn't bring any benefit to your life. But by the same token, I also find that perhaps YouTube, Odyssey, and all those other places are very much the same. That, like, you know, putting yourself out there, spending time talking about this kind of stuff, talking about anything realistically, just does it really add anything? That's up to you to decide. Same with Netflix and Twitch and you know, like Disney, and does sitting at your telly binging, does that really benefit any? Does that add anything to your life? It's, again, up to you to decide. Otherwise, you could get rid of all that. You know, Facebook and Crunchyroll and Funimation and Netflix and Amazon Prime Video and Disney Plus and the other one and the other one and the other one and the Disney and the Netflix and that one and the all the ones that I've just mentioned again and again and again and again. Because fuck, man, if you've got a Sky subscription, why? Yeah, it's just eye-opening. It. I thought social media would be more tolerable than it was by just going on it when I got to my computer. It was no better, to be honest with you. Not at all. A little less annoying that I was getting those little bits throughout the, like, you know, oh God, what do people want now kind of thing. But still, finding, just getting bombarded with all that crap at the end of the day was, just weren't worth it. Just not worth the hassle. So yeah, starting tomorrow, I'll make another video saying I'm going to Pine phone it for a month, and we'll see how we go. I'll talk over what I plan to do, what I don't plan to do. I've kind of already covered it in a video about the Pine phone, but I won't do it. I don't think I'll make a video every day from this day on. I might make one a week for this Pine phone thing. So week 1, how was it? How are things changed? Week 2, and then, you know, probably by the end of April, just make a video as and when I feel like it. So consider that an announcement. 2, not that anyone would have got to 25 minutes in. I'm going to make a cheese toastie. Would you like one? Legitimately answer. I might mail you one. I won't, but I might. You never know. Yeah. If you ever fancy going the super low end route, it's completely doable. It is completely doable. We used to do it like 10, 15, 20 years ago. This is literally going back to a lifestyle I had. I mean, this was a bit more modern, but this was literally going back to a life I had back in high school. You know, just a portable music player, low end phone, and maybe if you were lucky, a camera. That was it. That was the late 90s, you know? Late 90s, very early 2000s. That was life then. Why is it so hard to do now? I have no idea. Why do so many people have to make so many excuses? Why do so many people have to be on social media? Why do so many people have to air everything? Sandwich time. Again, do you want one? Maybe a hot chocolate? What do you fancy? Put in your order. And I'll see you all, with a bit of luck, in the next one. It'd have been so much easier if I'd have been using a better MP3 player, though. Other than having to rewrite that card every time. It wasn't bad, but just, just let me just copy all my files and just read the metadata. How hard is that? See you in the next one.